Are volumes up? How are the rates? Let's check it out right after this. Stick around. Ah, yes. Good morning. Good morning. It's Friday. Friday, March 15th. I almost said February. That would have been completely wrong, and you would have been like, what the hell's wrong with you? But either way, it's March 15th. It is, I hope you guys survived the weather last night. We didn't get it too bad here. We had a bit of a storm. You know, I was doing some errands around town yesterday, and the police scanner went off about a severe thunderstorm warning, but it also went off about a tornado warning, which I never saw the. Let me fix this here. All right. Sirens never went off here in town, but it was in southeast Greene County or whatever. So, but anyways, we'll take a look at everything. We'll see what happened. I know that Ohio, Indiana got hit. I know Shannon Thomas was sending me texts last night. So about that, we got to hang out with her last night. The wife and I met up with her. She was hanging out there in Missouri. She picked up a load at a place that I've picked up a couple of times, and met her out at the Loves. Took her to get some Mexican food, and she has it on film of us cheating on the diet that we so proclaim. So anyways, if you're watching on Twitter, I'm actually streaming on Twitter as well, at Snorelord, if you want to check that out. Yeah, Ratman sees it. Yes, awesome. I can see your comment. Good deal, man. Good deal. I'm trying to hit. I didn't do Facebook for some reason. I didn't think about that. But now a friend of mine told me I should explore the Twitter space. And I'm a horrible Twitter person. And I'll post like 18 things that are just repostings, and then I won't touch it for about 2 months, and then I'll do it again. And so I'm trying to fix that. Not that my opinion or anything matters, but you gotta understand. The only platform I'm not streaming on at all is LinkedIn, because you need to have special privileges for that. So, not that anybody follows me there, but But anyways, yeah, we got to hang out with Shannon last night. She got to meet the wife, and the wife got to meet Dee Dee, and that dog has grown. It's been over a year almost a year. It was Matt's last year that I got to see that dog. So it's not a puppy anymore. And she didn't pee all over the place. So that was good. Neither did Shannon. So that was good. That was good. Um so anyways, we'll take a look at the market rates. We'll take a look at the hot market map. And then if you guys didn't see that, I did a recorded video. I know that's really weird for me nowadays. About the new market rate page on 123 low board, and then we'll also take a look at DAT to see what the volumes are and some of the more well stained. So between DAT and 123 and the new market thing that I like about 123, we'll show you a few things. And a lot of people ask me, how do I find my lane? How do I find the groove? How do I find my triangle? How do I find my circle? And the answer is there's no formula. But once you figure it out, it's going to change anyways. Like earlier this week, I saw that volumes were better out of Georgia than they were Ohio for van, and so it's constantly changing. And other times, and you don't notice it. I always went to Columbus area blindly. Like I know I could always find a load out, and I wasn't. There were times when I was 2 or 3 loads ahead, but I try not to get more than that because plans fall apart and brokers hate it when you cancel loads on them. So what I would do is go to Ohio knowing that I can always get out. Well, there's a couple of times where I can't, or the rates just aren't there. I'm like, well, what's going on? And then I'll look at volumes. I'm like, oh, that's what's going on. So paying attention to volumes helps quite a bit, but also having relationships, dealing with brokers that you're used to dealing with, that's all important. I've tried to demonstrate that to one of our new drivers. It's about right now. It's about consistency. That's the important part, because if you don't have consistency, then it's hard to build anything. Imagine if you're trying to build a house. You put your foundation down, you got a good foundation, right? But then, you put a 2x4 up here and like, well, I'm going to work on the roof here. No, that's not going to work. And then there's no, like, you're not consistent with the framework. And then next thing you know, you got a house of cards, it falls down, then you wonder what happened. Even though you worked hard, but you're all over the place. And running the spot market is kind of the same way. You gotta create some consistency. And if you have rate paralysis, you're not going to move. And that's the name of the game right now, is to move. I've lived it. I've dealt with it. And I'm helping drivers deal with it. And, if you sit there expecting $2 a mile to come out of Florida, you're going to sit for a while. And the more you sit, the more your cost per day goes up. If your cost per day is $400 a day and you sit for 2 days, well, now your cost just tripled. Or you got to work later in the month, if you're only doing 20, 25 days. So if you're going to sit at home. If you're going to sit under a load. If you sit at home, make sure you're under a load, if that's possible, which, depending on where you live, look, I've said this a million times. Go back to my old videos and watch it. But the reality is that consistency is key. These people that switch companies all the time, I know people have switched more companies than I have in my whole career, like in the last 3 months. And that you just can't build anything off that, especially as an owner or lease operator. If you're constantly switching companies, you're losing money every single time you do that. And, and like I said, I've worked for 4 companies in my career. And that was, 14 years. So I was a company driver for 1 company, then Landstar, Schneider, and Like. That's it. That's all I've done. And mainly because I despise the orientations. I despise orientations, sitting in a room with a bunch of other people, learning about how to get out of a trailer correctly, that kind of stuff. I don't see how people can sit through that all the time. Switching companies all the time. So, but anyways, enough of that. Let's get to the comments here. And let's see. All right. Yes. StreamYard is, I've got new things going on in my StreamYard here because of the Twitter feed, but I can see the Twitter feed, but I can't comment on the Twitter feed. So there you go. So let's go to the comments here, and then we'll look at some low board stuff, and we'll check it out. WCF Invader first. We had a good conversation yesterday. I don't know if I helped them or not, but we'll see. STTN, good morning. How are you doing? How's your did you survive the tornadoes last night? I know that your area got hit as well. Hope your house is still standing. Greg Zimmer, good morning. David Edwards, morning. Desert Okie Pam, good morning. Covered for the next week, and I didn't even book one load off the low boards. There you go. Don has figured it out. Please pray for my area. It was hit bad by tornadoes last night. Well, David, we'll say a prayer for you guys, and hope all is well in your world. So, Cool Trucking, good morning. Haven't seen you in a minute. Mr. Bearded Man. Chief Freight Hauler David will do. 3-inch hail Wednesday evening in Kansas City. You didn't tell me about that yesterday. TK, hey now. CDN Freight Broker, good morning. Happy Friday. CDN, I have been missing my workouts because, number one, work has called. So I've had to deal with that. And then number two, they are replacing all the machines at the particular gym I go, and the other one that I can go at is way on the other side of town, so I wouldn't get home till like 8:30, and I didn't want to do that this morning. So Ratman on Twitter there, hitting all platforms. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your support. Tolga, good morning, folks. What's up, Tolga? Good morning from Springfield, Missouri. Look at Shannon announcing where she is. Actually, she's in Springfield technically. So in the closet says, how are the rates? Well, we'll find out. You made it home for the storms. Good deal. Good deal. When is Matt's? Matt's is next weekend, David. It's going to be the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. So it is next weekend. So next weekend, we have other plans, so we won't be at Matt's. So I apologize for anybody that wanted to see me. It's not like I was flooded with people that wanted to see me last year, so I think it'll be okay. State Route 33 is closed between Bellefontaine, Ohio, and Columbus, Ohio. Wow. They have some flooding, or was that tornado? Chief Freight Hauler answering David for me. In the closet says tornado, question mark? Yes. Okay. Yeah, the police scanner was going off in that county last night for that tornado. That in Indiana. So, Pop-Tart, what's up? Hey, y'all. Landstar and Schneider, we must be family. Yes. Jeffrey Like was also at Landstar and Schneider. So, and I noticed that people that tend to do well in the spot market are the ones that did one or both. We have quite a few ex-Schneider guys here. Some of them are more well-known than others, and then we got a couple of ex-Landstars as well. So, and I think we have one or two drivers that did both as well, like me. So, my name is Nobody. Good morning. Sean says, had major engine failure, up and running now. Dropped number 3 cylinder. Ouch. Hopefully it was under warranty. So you're only 34? What does that mean? I wish I was 34. How about that Swift driver that torched a lot full of trailers? Be nice to your drivers. I did not hear about that. When did that happen? Oh, yeah, you will sit for a long time in Florida if you're looking to get $2 to come out. Good morning, right? DIY Semi, good morning. Boom, he says. I'm feeling so fat today. That dinner was too good. I ate too much. Let me tell you what Shannon got. Every time we go to this Mexican place, and you can ask the drivers they've had dinner with me there, I get the same thing. I get this appetizer, and then I get these, basically fajitas. And I do cheat on my little keto thing, so don't go crazy on me. And I forgot what my wife ordered. I think it was enchilada or burrito enchilada style or something like that. But Shannon got this bowl. Like this bowl comes out. It's like this it's bigger than my video screen, my computer screen, right? And it's this like lava rock looking bowl, and it's a big fat pig, is what it is. It's a big round with legs, and it's got a pig's head on it, and it comes out just sizzling like, and we were like, after 15 minutes, it was still sizzling on the bottom, and it had like 58 kinds of meat. It had cactus in it. It had cheese, like blocks of cheese about this big. And Shannon's like, I'm going to eat this whole thing. Now, luckily her sense, came to her, and she ended up needing to go. But man, she ate about half of it. And it was crazy. And my wife and I are looking at it, it's like, well, we should order that next time. But it's for one for two, right? Like you could, this could be a lover's meal. Like you can buy the bowl and you can just pick out of it. But yeah, I mean, it was crazy. And it wasn't that expensive, not like the $45 octopus that they had that she was eyeballing, but I don't think she wanted to do that. So, nursery season has been stumbling this year. Lost a lot of business, but they picked up a bunch of new business starting next week, so decided to stay and work. Well, good deal. I'm glad that's going to pan out. So, Mrs. A says, "Me too, Shannon." Yeah. Pop-Tart gone trolling this morning, LOL. Real RD, what's up? Less than $38,000 is owed on my truck, so I'm going to grind it out and pay this thing off before June. Very good. How come Mrs. A will dine with Shannon but not a DIY? I don't know. I mean, she likes you. You're cool with her. I think at the time that you were here, I think she was either sick or busy or both. So he wasn't a Swift driver. Okay. Pigtail, what's up? Good morning. Mr. Charles, good morning. Some Texas rice sounds good right about now. I'm an ex-Landstar operator. Tried to work for Snyder in the 80s. Lived in the wrong area. Yeah, that's true. Fajitas and enchiladas. That's some good eating. Steve, you have a nice big backyard to do a body weight workout. Go for a brisk walk or jog or warm up, and then pick 4 movements, 10 reps each for 10 rounds. If you need ideas, let me know. Well, thank you. There's too many landmines out in my backyard, so but I do have some weights here at home, and I have the elastic bands that you gave me. So when was I supposed to meet DIY? Well, he was in town one time, but I think you were working or busy. So, Ratman, I can't read that. Maybe that's, I am not going to read that because that'll butcher that word, but that's probably what that, is it made out of lava rock? You talk about that bowl. Is it made out of lava rock? Ratman, if you were still driving, this would be the perfect place for you. You'd be in Springfield all the time. So if you do come to Springfield, let me know, and we'll take you to this place out in Stratford. Flatbed Trucker, good morning. Wimpy, haven't been home since Christmas. Tonight at steak, lobster, and a cake of Heineken. Sage says, Pigtail, reach out to me. Working on Flowers Company customer. Truckers Anonymous, good morning. Steve in chat. How's it going? Yes, okay. It's made out of lava rock. Was I right about that? When I was a kid, I lived in Hawaii for a minute. A lot of you probably didn't know that. But we had a lava rock. It was like a coffee table, because back in my day, people had coffee tables. And on these coffee tables, they would have decorative things like rocks. And we had coral. We had a coral rock, and we had a lava rock. And I'll tell you, you don't want to be hit with a lava rock because it's all jaggedy and porousy, and it would hurt. And same thing with the coral, right? So we had a coral, and I don't know whatever happened to those. I don't know if we got rid of them, or obviously because they weren't at my mom's house when we cleaned our house out. So, but they would be kind of cool to have. But so, anyways, I'm sure that was an interesting, riveting story for you guys. Of course, you even You even have landmines. Is that to defend against the house list? Got to protect your property. Am I right? Well, I'm talking about the poop, dog poop. We call them landmines, so that's why. Every time we get someone to work on the house or someone to work on the plumbing, we say, watch out for the landmines. Romeland, what's up? Good morning. Pigtail says, Sage, I have left the flower industry. Yes, he has. JT is doing videos. He's having a tough go at it right now, having trouble booking loads. Just trucking? Is that who JT is? Look, everybody's struggling. In a way. If you're running 100% spot market broker boards, you're probably enduring some difficulties right now. And that's the game that we all play. That's the market. So Pigtail's been end-dumb for about 6 months. Lava Rock is basically glass. It is. Cascade, what's up? It is shiny new Volvo. So, all right, let's share the screen. All right. And let's look at DAT first, and then we'll go to 1, 2, 3 here. All right, so let's look at load volumes. Look at Alaska. There's like 13 loads going into Alaska on the DAT board. Wonder what the price is on those. Let's take a look. See if there's any rates posted. Oh. $1. There's $1 posted. So let's click on that. Test. 10,000 pounds. March 14th through the 16th. Trip is 3,132 miles as the plane flies. So obviously, Dat Ka Jake's test account is posting loads for $1 going to Alaska. See, this is why you can't trust all volume numbers, right? Because according to DAT, we have 13 loads going to Alaska. And out of these 13, guess what? Well, it shows 7. But out of these 7, there's only one load. St. Cloud, Florida, going to Fairbanks, 43,000 pounds. You got a phone number and an email. One pick, one drop, must have E-tracks and straps. Airboards. Right? Does that say? Airboards. Terry. So there is one load. Of course, there's not a rate posted because they want you to quote it. Call them up, say you want $30,000. All the way from Florida. That's a hefty trip. That is a hefty trip. I would love to do that out of experience, but not with my truck. Let somebody else own that truck. So, but anyways, let's go back. So yeah, there's 8 loads now to Alaska instead of 13. So, anyways, that's the thing with these volumes. You have to really be careful because there's not all of them are loads. So yeah, DAT's got more volume than 1, 2, 3, but how many of them are real loads? So, just keep that in mind. Whenever someone's going, oh, you got 800 loads in your area. Well, no, you actually probably have about 600. And out of the 600, you should be able to find something that you can do, right? All right, so Alabama's pretty even. Arkansas looks good, more out than in. Arizona is being even. It has not been as much of a battle getting out of Phoenix. I had a driver go down there because he was visiting family. And we had to take our lumps coming out, but not as bad as it usually is. Not as bad as it was a month ago. Let's see, California. California's got more out than in, so they're going to stop paying going into California. Colorado, is doing what Colorado does. Connecticut sucks. D.C., Delaware, Florida. 1467 in, 997 out. So you probably can get a little bit better rate out of Florida, but not by much. Georgia, 1311 in, 1448 out. So good volumes there. Iowa's kind of upside down right now. Idaho looks good, 191 out. This is for van, by the way, 106 in. Illinois is upside down. Look, 1058 in and only 921 out. Same thing with Indiana. Indiana's upside down, 783 to 584. And then Kansas has got more out than in. Kentucky is not. Louisiana, 403 in, 715 out. Now, see, that's what I'm talking about. So you have what I call sleeper markets, where states that normally don't have more out than in all of a sudden do. And I'm guessing this is port work, right? So if I'm looking at a load out of Dallas, or let's say Phoenix, maybe it'd be okay to go to Louisiana because I should be getting a higher rate, right? And then I shouldn't have, there's my word, shouldn't. Then you might have, maybe that's a better term, better luck getting out of Louisiana more than you normally would. So, Massachusetts is no good. Maryland, no good. Maine is 36 in, 97 out. That's not too bad. Michigan, 499 in, 434 out. I'm sorry, 499 out, 430. So about even. Minnesota's no good. Missouri, not too bad. 512 in, 618 out. That's kind of low for their volumes, though. Mississippi's good. North Carolina, more out than in. New York, no. New Jersey is more out than in, but not by much. But it's difficult to get a good rate out of Jersey, on the spot market at least. PA, 1083 in, 914 out. So volumes are kind of all over the place. Texas has got more out than in. So it should be a little bit easier to book out of Texas now for an okay rate. And then the rest, Wisconsin. Look at Wisconsin, 458 in and 412 out. So yeah. And then let's go to 1, 2, 3. And that was all for Van, but we'll do the other platforms here. Let's see. There we go. Let's go. Man, you guys have been commenting like crazy. Jose says, I'm in southwestern Kansas visiting family, and they were the lowest rates I've ever pulled for to get here. Retirement is looking good right now. DIY semi for all your trucking desires. That sounds dirty. Yep, just truck. Okay. Anybody pull a liftgate trailer on the spot? No. Usually that stuff is contract. Every now and then I'll see one posted for that, but need a load, Kalamazoo to Cleveland or Columbus. We'll take a look at that. Remind me as I read the rest of these comments. Seen a load the other day from Hawaii to Alaska for $1,000. I have to get out my shop and go out to my cows, feeding time. Take care, everybody. Be safe. Enjoy your day. All right, Pop Tart. Thank you for popping in. Ha. Go to a nearby schoolyard. I will find a solution to any roadblock. The only limitation when doing an outdoor body weight workout is your creativity. And lightning thunderstorms. They have a tendency to hurt too. Scorpion says, good morning, Steve. Everyone from Vineland, New Jersey, getting ready to unload. 16 down, 6 more to go. Flatbed trucker, North Carolina. Test means the broker is looking for carriers. The broker doesn't have any freight yet, but trying to make connections, build a network. Okay, that's the first time I've seen that. So, the real RD, 600 loads, but 450 of them is TQL posting the same load, 249 different cities. DIY says, you should have guests on occasionally. Are you wanting to come on, DIY? Put yes in the chat if you do, and then I'll send you a link. Let me tell you about my unfactored invoices. All right. So all right. Sorry, guys. I'm distracted here. Let's see. Let's do this here. Okay, this is getting stupid. All right. I couldn't find that. Usually my searches are here, but I reset it all. So, all right. So we're looking for. What was that location you wanted me to look for? Oh, evidently I'm blind as a bat because I can't see that comment anymore. All right, acceleration rules. There you go. Need a load. Kalamazoo to Cleveland or Columbus. All right, so, but Kalamazoo. This is for van, right? We'll do Columbus and we'll do a radius to cover. How far is Columbus from Cleveland? We'll do a 300 mile. We'll do a 500 mile radius of Columbus there. For today, search. DIY says little old me. Thoughts and prayers for Ohio. They had a couple of big tornadoes last night. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I missed the big group broadcast y'all used to have. Yeah, well, I mean, I stopped putting the link out publicly because it was getting kind of crazy in the troll world. So I didn't want to do that. So let me hide this here and do an email real quick. And then a lot of times they just turn into echo chambers. And sometimes the echo chambers get old. So, all right. So we're looking at Kalamazoo to Columbus. There's quite a bit here. Let's post this by age of the posting. See how many last minute postings we got. Quite a few, so that's good. Let's do this sort by highest rate. Let's do rate per mile here. See where all the shorties are going. 400. Here we go. 1,800 to go to Hagerstown. That's 281 miles from Columbus. Greenfield. We got Toledo in the group here. So 500 mile radius gets you in pretty much anywhere. Hazelwood, Indianapolis, New Albany. Actually, not bad. Joliet, Illinois to New Albany, Ohio. Sherway's got it for 1,000. Cargo Chief's got about 1,000. Oh, it's hazmat. Never mind. You gotta love it. What is up, my friend?
Uh-oh. How you doing?
Nice backdrop there.
Oh,
Have you found a new career?
All right. You got me now?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I hear
Check
you now.
1, 2.
I couldn't find the stream or the video and pause it. I was getting all the sound. We're doing good. I made a new acquisition recently.
What's that?
I started a company called Flexport, and I bought out the Convoy platform. Here's all my. I just rehired the old people that they used to have working there because I thought they did a pretty good job. Next time, though, I should get some better attorneys because I didn't have the foresight to, form a new company, and now I'm getting sued for all their old receivables or payables. So,
isn't that crazy?
Can you believe people are signing back up for that in droves? Did you see my live stream yesterday?
No, I missed it. I was busy.
Tune into the later part of it. I was reading an article from Overdrive, and they were interviewing all these I'm gonna go out on a limb and say morons that were owed 100 one guy's owed $160,000 by Convoy, and
Wow.
Flexport came in and made him feel all warm and squishy inside and told him he was special, and he signed up to haul freight for him again. There's multiple stories of people that are owed tens of thousands of dollars that they came in and said, "Well, business is business, so why don't we just do this again?" And I'm like, and each one of them said, "Well, this is just so much more convenient the way their platform works." And I'm like, "You are a absolute moron."
Well, I think let's try to take it from their viewpoint. So let's say
I,
I'm owed
I got their
100,000.
view. Just one thing. This is their
Uh-huh.
viewpoint. Okay, so I bring in a carrier that I owe $100,000 to. I turn him around and I bend him over on the table. But see, I don't initiate anything. I wait for him to back up on it. To see if he's really down for this. So, it's one thing to set the carrier up, but if he just backs up right on it, then that's his fault.
Well, I'm wondering how much of it is the carrier thinking that, well, if I work for them again, I can get my money. Like
Mm,
they can make a deal. That's where I was getting at.
yeah, I used to think that about my pimp, but after after he started taking 90% of my tricks, I just said, you know what? Who's the sucker here? Who's the sucker here?
Oh man. Well, there's a lot of people that are challenged with um, talking to
Intel.
brokers, and for good reason. Some of them are fairly rude. We had a new driver that just started, so we were doing three-way calls to help him find loads, and there was a couple of people that answered the phone, or at least one guy answered the phone like, "Yeah, hello, yeah, is this so and so logistics? Yeah, yeah, I'm calling on your load to that's doing this and this," and he's like, "It's 40,000 pounds, picks up at 8, delivers next day at 3 o'clock."
Mm,
Okay, thank you very much. Click. I mean, it's just you don't even deal with that,
and that's
and
what you
and I
do.
get it. Yeah,
You're
I
gonna have
get
some.
it.
You're gonna have some calls like that, but it's like part of being in business.
But it's just look. When I went from Landstar to Snyder, I went from a call everyone to a click and go situation. It was so much easier. It was so much better. All the details were right there. No mind games, which I wasn't good at back then. None of the sales, you just click and go. And that's the appeal to these click and go apps. But and it's what it's done, it made it easier for people with no social skills, with no English
Hmm.
skills to be able to go in and book freight as long as they're doing it for the right price.
But you
And
you intentionally, you purposely set up a business model where you're going to buy a truck, and your whole main goal was to operate in the spot market, and then you don't want to operate in that market that you set yourself up to operate in.
right, that
It's like you want it
people do it
all.
all the time.
You want everything your way, but you don't always get everything your way. And one guy made the comment, "Well, the people at Convoy sucked, but the app is great, so I'm going to sign back up again." I'm like, "Well, do you think the app was the one cutting your paycheck? It was those people that sucked that cut your paycheck, and those people that sucked, they rehired most of them. A lot of the people got rehired. So
Hmm.
same sucky people that are not going to probably pay you again when times get tough. It's like where's that cutoff? So one guy was over $160 and 160,000. I'm like, where's the cutoff to where you won't fall for this again? Is it 200,000? Is it 250,000? Tell me where the dollar amount is where that convenience is no longer worth it. Because I take $160,000 a little personal.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's carriers that went under because of all that.
Oh yeah, there
So,
was.
and look, it's how you thin the herd. I mean, people are desperate. People get desperate in this kind of market. And you've been in this game long enough that there's up and down markets, and it's the acts. Look, dealing with the rates and the rude brokers and the insulting. Hey, I got this for $1.10 a mile type stuff.
Hmm.
I can deal with that. That's part of the game. It's the desperation of the effects of desperate acts. Like the double brokering and the fraud that we're seeing on a whole level that we've never seen before. And even little things like people stealing your fuel while you're getting your shower, and and stealing your app information so they can buy fuel off of your dime, that kind of
Hmm.
thing. And people like leasing trailers just to get all the tires and then replacing their own tires with it and then
Ooh,
leaving the
that's a good
trailer
one. Let me write
behind.
that down. I didn't think of that one. Lease trailers, steal tires. Okay, go ahead.
That it's the desperate acts, and when I'm trying to look for a load out of a bad area and I've got people literally undercutting me while we're on the phone, and you do that. There
Yeah.
was one broker that you call and say, hey, we negotiate a price, let's say 2,000. And like, oh yeah, I think I can get 2,000. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, I got somebody else on the phone with my other agent, and they said they can do 18. Can you match that? I'll be like, nope. And then I don't play that game. Now, the other thing that they'll do is you go to JB Hunt's little click and go app, and you look and like, oh, that looks like a good load. I know that customer. I'll do that. Oh yeah, their rate's kind of low. Let me put in my rate, and then you see that somebody's already undercut you by like $500. And it's like that's not even profitable at that rate, let alone the rate that like
Yeah, I'm
it's
just
just
inclined to let them have it.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like good luck to you,
Yeah.
and
But
that
I
go
kind of
ahead.
feel like
Sorry.
these people that are doing this with, signing back up with Convoy and these other ding-a-ling things are the same people that are out there screaming, "We all need to get together and do this, and damn these brokers for that, and these people are stealing us blind." And I kind of feel like it's the same people, some of them, which is fine. But you're talking one game and then you're going and doing another one. You're talking a game of we need to get together and we need to do this and get these brokers to give us more money. But then what you're doing is you're sitting there and just hitting the button to take this or that. There's no talk. There's no relationship. There's no business building. There's no anything.
Well, here's some deep philosophy for you.
Oh, jeepers! I'm ready. Let me write. Hold on. I gotta get something to write with.
You can just go back and watch the replay.
Okay.
All right. When people don't know how to win, they claim that the game is rigged.
I like that. I like the famous philosopher Robert Plant, um, who says, "When your conscience hits you, knock it back with pills." I like that one. That's a famous quote that I like.
Like, how many
Oh,
times
you're
have you
right, though.
seen
You're
like
right.
someone playing a game and like when they lose, like, well, he cheated. No, and so, or you expect now we're living in society with the oppression Olympics and all that, where they want the rules to bend to their needs, right? And
Hmm.
that's part of the game. And so this people screaming for broker transparency and all that. It's like it's so obviously easy. You just don't deal with brokers if you don't like dealing
It,
with them.
exactly, and it's usually the loudest voice that is, in these things that is the most. I don't want to say incompetent, but maybe operating at the lowest level. So if you're this Convoy guy, and the one guy's booking 100% of his loads through Convoy, if you're that guy, you can't come out then and scream for broker transparency or this or fair rules or uh, or whatever because you're not even trying to
Right.
fix it for yourself. You haven't tried to fix it for yourself before you're going and screaming for new laws. So okay, it's people are out screaming for transparency, cracking down on brokers. They passed new rules on that so that if brokers didn't pay carriers or if they short pay them or if they this or if they that, they shut them down, right? That rule got passed here not long ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody kind of acknowledge that. So why is Flexport out there still, booking these loads? They didn't separate this whole transaction wasn't done well. They didn't separate the old company from the new company enough. They're still, responsible here. So why is Flexport out there with 520 some $1,000 owed to carriers still booking loads? Well, they passed a law against that, right? Didn't we just get that regulation? So that's
Right.
just, these
Well,
these regulations mean nothing.
so did Convoy change their MC number? Is it a different MC number?
I don't know, but they, they bought it, the technology. It's complicated, but for some reason they're saying that Flexport is responsible for Convoy's, bad debt. So obviously they didn't do something right. Whatever. But
It just shows you the disconnect that
yeah,
that a lot of people with money have. I've read reports earlier, that UPS, when they bought out Coyote, they didn't realize how volatile the situation is. C.H. Robinson top executives weren't prepared for a down market.
yeah.
It's crazy to think that. That's why the common driver can be an asset to a company when you make these decisions. Like, what's Convoy look like on the street level? What do they like about that? Well, take that part of the technology and utilize that, not the entire system that failed. That's what blows my mind.
Well, it's a brilliant business model too. I mean, you build something that sounds bad, but it's not. I don't mean it that way. You build something that appeals to the lowest common denominator. And
Right.
there's also some other commonalities with that lowest common denominator. They'll typically haul for less. They don't communicate. They won't negotiate. So we all we got to do is build this the way they like it, and we're going to get all our freight moved, and we're going to get it moved cheap. It's brilliant. Like,
Yeah.
we should probably start working on that this afternoon. I'm thinking we'll be rich by Friday, but um, then the people that participate in it want to complain about. I ain't gonna lie, I've pulled a handful of convoy loads throughout my life. We haven't touched a load for them in years because it just turned into a bunch of a-holes. I remember when they first started, everybody, you'd call in and you'd speak to somebody in Seattle. That's the
Hmm.
way it was, and they would work with you. And now you can't even. The last few years, good luck with that. That's kind of when we went away from them, but um, and it'll work again. That model will work. Actually, it's gonna be more effective going forward. It's gonna work more because of the way the industry is going. But it's quick to and easy to blame brokers, but I'll tell you straight up, shippers are being d bags right now too. A lot of them I've
Well,
talked to, they go on the weekly bids. Um, Relationships right now mean nothing. I have a friend that's been with the in-house main carrier for a company for 17 years. They're treating them like crap, absolute crap. So it's tough all over right now. It really
hmm
is.
yeah, yeah. That's the thing. I think blaming the brokers is misplaced anger, because if you think about how high rates went for the shippers, shipping containers and all that during the shutdowns and right after the shutdowns, I mean, they were getting reamed. So all their profit margins are gone. So they've got
Yeah,
pressure from there. I mean, it just crap rolls downhill.
yeah.
And that,
I lost a lane yesterday from South Carolina back to Wisconsin that we just picked up. About a month ago. Somebody came in and bid it for $500 less. I'm like, you can have it. I mean, I wanted that. I love it. Works great, but I ain't doing that.
no, well, I mean, you hear about companies with contracts all the time, trucking companies with contracts all the time going out of business because they kept lowering to the
Hmm.
point that you're bending over for the customer and you're not profiting, and it's a lose-lose situation. And then when that breaks apart, then you got all the parasites, grabbing all the bits. And back to the convoy thing. When I first entered the spot market, convoy was great, because they had all the information right there.
Hmm.
You knew what you were getting into, and if you knew your customers, you knew your area, you knew how to manipulate the system, right? You knew how to put a bid in and just wait on it. And if they were desperate, when they called you, you knew you had them. They weren't going to pay your dumb rate, but you had at least a person that had an obligation to the customer to move this load that you can negotiate with. So you were able to bypass the bad part of the digital system and still get a decent rate. When Jeff was still driving, he did a lot of convoy loads in his area because of the customers, and he kind of taught us how to manipulate that system. He goes, "Hey, put in a bid like this," and then back then they would also tell you how much you would lose the bid by. And
Hmm.
so during the shutdowns, when they were wanting to move stuff for $1.25 a mile, I would put in these ridiculous rates, knowing that I wasn't going to do the load, But then they would say, you lost this load by $1,000. I'm like, okay, so they're paying around X amount for these loads.
If they're
So
telling
when
the
I
truth.
wanted, yeah, yeah, if they're telling the truth. But they stopped doing that. Like they just said, your bid did not win. It was too high, and that was it. That's all you got now. And so the other thing about Convoy I will give them is when they first started, they were at the truck shows talking to the drivers. Now they were trying to be sneaky about it. One time I was sitting on a bench with one of our other drivers, and this guy comes up, this young kid comes up, and he's like, "Hey, so I'm doing a survey for a Click and Go app, and we're not with Uber, but we're a Click and Go, and what do you look for? What they were interested in our opinion." And then he finally revealed that he was with Convoy after we, prodded him a little bit. And then the next truck show we saw them, we had some complaints. We went to the complaints. They tried to fix it. They just kind of made it worse. It was with our emails. But we told them what we were looking for. But then last year at Matt's, when they had hardly any presence, they weren't interested in talking to you, I knew that they were on their way out. And I'm seeing the similar patterns with Uber.
Well,
And
let's
Uber's
let's
losing a lot of their ground.
it's very popular to hate on brokers, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to stand up for brokers. I'm trying to tell the truth. Okay, you take this Convoy situation, and yes, they did some scumbag things, but let's not forget that there's a shipper involved here too, that knows
Right.
that Convoy did not pay their bills. You have the biggest one is IKEA, and then I think Costco was another big party, right? In that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and they know they're not paying the bills because there's collection efforts against them. They're involved in lawsuits. There's no denying that Convoy did not pay the carriers for their freight. So, Flexport snatches it up, tries to revive this thing, whoever, and goes back to the same shippers. Same shippers decide to participate in this with this brokerage company that caused them all this grief of not paying the carriers. Now the collections can be against that company. And they say, yeah, we'll give this another run. We'll try it. Meanwhile, those old carriers haven't been paid. So this is a scumbag move by the the shipper, receiver, whoever's paying the freight also. So let's spread plenty of this blame around. And this is part of the problem with the surge thing too. They're claiming that collection efforts on behalf of the carriers is interfering with their business. No, because you know what? Who was one of their big Coca-Cola, I think was one of their big customers. Coca-Cola knows they call Surge and say, we're tired of these carriers calling. You gotta stop these carriers from calling trying to collect. Well, guess what? Stop tendering Surge freight because you're participating in this. You're knowing participating where people aren't getting paid. I say that's kind of fraud to me. Once you know about it and you know what's happening, you continue to participate in it. You're now culpable in it. So let's make sure we give plenty of blame, to where it's due. It's popular to pile it all on the broker, but you know what? There's more to it than that. So if we go back to the Convoy thing and some of these old shippers jump on board again, knowing that the back people haven't been paid. As far as I know, there's no bankruptcy here, unless there is, and I don't know about it. So that money is still collectible and still owed. How about Costco or IKEA? You step up and say no, not until you solve these. You pay these past people, and then we're going to need to see some kind of plan in place to where you're guaranteed to pay the people going forward. Otherwise, we're just we'll take our business somewhere else. Is what they should do anyway, because when a broker does something like that, it can damage the shipper too. So I just we got to make sure we give blame where blame is due completely all across the board here.
Well, again, I think it goes back to desperate acts, and see, if I'm Convoy, I don't know how. Like it boggles my mind, like to the point that it just pauses me because I'm like, how can you bring up a good point? How can if how can you expect to get customers for the carriers that have been dense enough to sign back on with you? Like how do they even have
Because they
freight? I have
they
not.
sell the technology. They go to these places and say, "This is what our technology does. This is how much it can save you." You know what? There's real time pricing, and
Mm-hmm.
they sell your ignorance to these people, saying, we have this bid system where we're fully in control of it. We're fully in control of the counter bids. The algorithm says, at this time we'll raise the price, which is, we may book it for them and save you money. They sell these technologies, and these companies eat it up, but not knowing that they're participating. Well, no, I take that back. Now they know that they're participating in a bunch of BS, and they continue to do it. So let's hold them accountable too.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just a weird situation. And
Yeah,
this is the game that a lot of people that enter the spot market, they don't realize the depth of the things that you have to kind of consider. And then when you realize that this is just a part of trucking, this is how trucking business has been done. The best loads are solved on the golf courses. They're solved at dinner luncheons and
yeah.
backroom deals
They
and
never hit the
and
load board.
yeah, they never hit the load board and
But then,
people have
we know that, okay, Convoy's doing this. There was an article that exposed, what their rates were. People are all up in arms about that. And then we know what, the shippers did, and they continue to do what they're reviving. And we all are upset about it. We demand broker transparency, but then we run frickin' headfirst right back into it. That's the
yeah,
part. That's why
it's like a
that's why
moth to
none of
flame.
these yeah, that's why none of these protests or stuff, because as soon as it's over, you know, people they pile right back into it. So new approaches are needed. New
It
solutions are needed.
it's kind of like that meme where the guy's riding the bike and he puts the thing through his own spokes and flips the bike over and blames the stick. It's
Yeah,
kind of like that.
it is.
It's just human nature, really. It's crazy, and it just shows you how many people are in this business that really don't know what's going on, that really don't know how things work, and really don't know that they are their own worst enemy. I mean, that's and eventually the herd thins, but it's not thinning enough.
Yeah. And
And
here's the thing too, in this whole process, and
mhm,
CDN, brought up the bond. I tend to agree $75,000 bond is a joke when you have a company might be doing $1 million a day, you know. So
mhm.
there's tons of safeguards in place to make this not happen. Until we have a government that gives a damn or will enforce any rules whatsoever, that you could pass a law a day against everything they're doing, and it's not going to matter because nobody cares, nobody enforces it. It's the problem here is with the people, in enforcement and making the laws. It's the only people that ever get came down on is us, the driver, or us, the trucking company. Everybody up the food chain from there. There's no audits for brokerages. There's no new entrant audit. There's no ongoing audit unless you commit a crime and they want to come in and see a receipt. Unless there's a reason for an audit.
Right.
Um, there's no, when's the last time you heard of a shipper's, bill of ladings being audited? Or there's plenty of, like I said, so you got the whole surge, their customer thing where they continue to tender loads to people they aren't going to pay or didn't pay. There's some kind of, collusion going on there. There's all kinds of things here. We don't need any more new rules. We don't do anything. We don't enforce the non-English speaking. We don't enforce half the traffic laws. We don't hit and run. I mean, I've had 40 guys get hit and run in the last 4 years. Somebody hits their truck and takes off, and you know, it's like there's 150 laws a day we don't enforce. One more isn't going to make a difference. So we have to start taking care of that ourselves and just watching out for ourselves.
Well, and then here's the danger is that if things get so bad with all of that, with the lawlessness, what happens? The government comes in with a heavy hand.
After
Next
us,
thing you
they
know,
only ever come after us.
and next thing you know, all of our hands are tied and they're in control. So that create the problem, or let the problem create itself, and then be the solution. And next thing you know, we've all lost everything.
I mean, they made
And
these laws against collusion, right? Where a broker or a dispatcher can't, or coercion, I mean, coercion, where they can't coerce you to break your hours of service or blah, blah,
right,
blah, and all this, but yet they let shippers continue to schedule loads 700 miles in 10 hours. Or,
yeah,
where if they schedule a load that has an impossible schedule, when you get to the other end, they'll fine the hell out of you $300. If that isn't coercion, I don't know what the hell is.
right,
Like, it's the textbook definition of coercion. Where if you don't do it, you're going to suffer a financial penalty. So
hmm
I don't really give a damn what they say about anything while they continue to let all these things happen, because we're the ones that's easy to come after. They're gonna have a hard time going after a Procter and Gamble, right? With the scheduling stuff. And if they do, they'll just swing it so far the other way. They'll give you 3 days on transit time on a 700-mile load, right? So
Yeah.
it's really a no-win. We just have to find a way to play the game different.
Yeah, and that's the trick right now. So, it goes far deeper than crying that you can't get more than $2 a mile out of Florida. It goes way deeper than that, and so that those are the bigger picture. Sometimes it's kind of
Yeah. You're
overwhelming.
you're competing
Yeah.
against somebody who got their CDL from a CDL factory, and then the company got busted for having a CDL factory. And does anybody go to jail? What happens? Nothing ever happens, right? You
No.
could, if they wanted to start with fixing trucking, put 10,000 agents in the city of Chicago, in the Metro Chicago area, and root through every company's records in Chicago. Start there. I mean, and then maybe move on to Bakersfield, California, or up and down California there, and you'll root out a lot of stuff if unless you're just going to take the bribes, like people have been caught doing and didn't go to jail. So, uh, a lot of problems.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the people that are winning right now are the ones that can rewrite or go around the rules. Like like when you see a load on the low board 700 miles in a 10-hour shift, they're looking for that carrier that's willing to unplug the ELD,
Mm-hmm.
or they're
That's
willing to
coercion.
use their PC. Yeah.
It's coercion.
And it's just like the old days when hey, this needs to be in New York from LA by tomorrow afternoon. Can you do that? Yep. Let me get my 4 logbooks out and I'll make it happen. It's
Mm-hmm.
like the new version of that. We didn't really solve the problem. We just rearranged it. And the
Rearrange the
ones that are
liability.
right, and it's frustrating, and but it's part of the game.
It is.
And but yeah, the convoy thing boggles my mind. It'll be interesting to see how that played out, because there was a time where I actually used convoy quite a bit when I first started running in the spot market. It was back when you can negotiate with them. It was back when they had reasonable rates. It was the COVID that kind of like changed their dynamics. And I see Uber making a lot of the same mistakes, and not talking bad about Uber because we still utilize them, but that their factoring is getting more challenging, their debt's getting a lot higher, and they're making a lot of the same mistakes to where
Well,
you almost don't want to do an Uber load because you got no customer support, or the app fails, or the app says that you left when you didn't, that kind of thing. And it's just or you got all these fines now. And that's the other new thing that I'm seeing more and more of. It's like you get a rate con for like 1,000. You negotiated the load for 1,300, but it says 1,000 line haul rate, 100 for tracking, 100 for on time delivery, 100 for check calls, and then when you get the load done, before you can invoice it, you need the new rate con that said, okay, it's just $1,300. I'm seeing a lot of that.
yeah, it's easier to take money away from you. Like, and plus, if you ever have to file on their bond, you can't collect on accessorials, and all those things are listed as accessorials. So if you got a $1,500 load and they cheat that down to 1,000, you can only ever collect on 1,000.
Right.
But
It,
yeah, it's partly reading the tea leaves. There's no coincidence that these companies that are struggling the most are the ones that have these click and go technologies like Uber, um, Convoy. And then we got Coyotes having a little bit of struggle. GH Robinson's had their financial struggles. The technologies are needed to a certain extent, but that's going to make people like CDN with the personal touch and the personal relationships do better. It's going to
mm-hmm.
come full circle, but we got a heck of a lot in between there. There's going to be a great divide between the technologies and the personal relationships, because there's people that can only ever function on that click and go side, which is whatever. Then that's the place for them. And then over here on this other side is for other people.
CDN says, we see that ongoing battle. 1 month wants government to step back, less regulation. Next month, everyone wants government to intervene. Supply chain is a massive industry.
Yeah, it is.
See what CDN says with highway.com, we see if carriers are logging from different countries. We see multiple businesses from same address. FMCSA just has to look at highway.com and go after the carriers what fails.
Here's the thing. When Go Highway first came out, I thought it was going to be a great thing because I was all for. I agreed with those principles. But here's the thing: thousands of small carriers like myself have a small brokerage, or that's a lot of times that's how you build a carrier. I even have mine at a different address, different email, different phone number, everything. But Highway still ties it to me. I used to have a second carrier that I did some other things with. I shut that down a long time ago. They still tie it to me. So they tie it to me through Motive, my ELD, because at one time I had another account a long time ago, and they won't drop it. They won't disconnect it from me, even though it's been closed for a long time. So Highway is taking that information and compiling it, but they're not vetting it. They're not vetting it at all. So whenever I get a broker that's using Highway, I can sometimes have a hell of a time or not at all book a load with them. Even if I've hauled for them in the last few months, like GIX was one. I've hauled a lot for GIX. They switched to Go Highway, and suddenly I couldn't book a load with them anymore. And I'm like, I wrote a letter. I'm like, listen, just use your brain for a second. Here's what it is. Like, I'm totally transparent with it all, and we finally got it worked out. But we've had to not book some freight with some people because I tell you, a good one to use, and I've had the guys on the show, is eCarrier Check, because they get that information, they compile it, but then they assess you a risk score. Okay, so I have a carrier, there's a brokerage. What is the risk that this guy's going to double broker something? They'll go through all the reports. Has he ever had a report of double brokering? How much in volume is he doing? You know, so there's a risk management score that goes along with it. That's what Highway needs to do. I mean, I've had my carrier for 20 some years already. Never once have I or would I ever double broker a load or had a freight guard or anything. So it sucks. It badly punishes the good people as well. It doesn't differentiate.
We are dealing with the same thing, and and sometimes it's like when the wind blows, right? It's like we've had there's one broker that one agent will book us, the other one won't. Like, or
Axle Logistics is a good one for that.
Yeah, and we literally had drivers on that particular broker's load. Like we'll use Axle as an example. We've got 2 drivers on Axle loads right now, and then a third driver tries to call in a load, and they're like, "No, we can't use you." Go Highway says, "F you." But we're on 2 of your loads right now as we speak.
Yeah.
Here's the load numbers. And so a lot of it's the agent, and I'm sure CNN's got some insight, which he's told me a little bit about how if it flags, it's up to how much authority each agent has to be able to get the higher ups to approve something.
Yeah. Some are not just say, no, I'm not even going to try.
Right, exactly. Because they'd rather get the cheaper truck that their system says go, so it's less headache, less paperwork. But in my opinion, more risk, I would think, but versus a carrier that you know and you're established with. So it's that's the danger of the electronic. Just like the convoys and the Ubers, the danger is losing that human connection. And yeah, we're all paranoid of double brokering. We're all paranoid of the fraud. We're trying to mitigate as much risk as possible. At the same time, you can't sacrifice the human element. And if Go Highway takes out the human element, then we're all screwed. So,
or you don't have people that are willing to follow up. They give you this information, it's your job to follow up on it, but then they just see it. Nope. It won't go any further with it than that.
Yeah, I mean, Carrier 411 is pretty bad about, like, they'll block you. They won't even answer your emails. They'll block your phone
Carrier
number.
411. I was one of their customers, and they blocked me. They don't give a damn. Carrier 411 is brutal.
Yeah, and it's so who's really in control? You know what I mean? If these platforms control, I mean, they could literally make or break an authority.
At a certain point, I forget which is it, slander or libel. It's in writing. It's slander. No, it's libel, right? I don't remember.
Libel, yeah.
Libel. At a certain point, It comes to that. That's your electronic reputation. And if they're saying things about you on there that are not true, or they won't even give you a chance to respond, or what they say is causing you to lose business, at a certain point there's going to have to be some lawsuits.
Yeah.
You never
Yeah.
consented to be part of it in the first place.
Exactly.
So that,
I'm
that makes
sure
it even
that.
worse as far as I'm concerned.
Well, on Care 411, that's the case. But with Go Highway, I'm sure there's something in their terms that you agree to. The whole 300-page book that you had to like sign terms of agreement. When you sign up for a broker, but I don't know. It's a mess, and so when people can't get out of their own way, it's like you realize you don't know. You don't realize how many cards are stacked against you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't get out of your own way and you're worried about the little things like broker transparency, is like there's a much bigger picture that you got to be aware of to run a successful trucking business right now. And and a broker. I mean, if you want to be a successful broker, it's brutal right now too.
Everything is.
So,
It's just everything requires a superhuman effort right now.
yeah,
And it's freaking exhausting.
It is. So, well, I got to end this feed here. We had almost 83 people. You're a popular man, my friend.
Not really. I mean, if you don't want me around, you can just say, "Why don't you leave, please?" I'm used to
No,
that.
I've got a new client that I'm going to deal with today, and then I've got to get a truck out of Dallas. So,
Okay. Hey, Monday. I tentatively have a live stream set for Monday at 10 a.m. where I'm going to have a couple folks on, and we're going to have a carrier on with one truck, and we're going to do some live sales calls. We're going to do them live, so everybody can hear real time. With no editing, what we're going to get into here, and successful or no success on those calls, it doesn't matter. You're going to learn a lot, and just stop in. Maybe we'll follow up, make it a regular thing. These guys are great. It's e-carrier check guys. Check out their channel, check out my channel, and hopefully this will be valuable.
Before you go, one comment. CDN says, DOI, the brokerage giving you hassles in highway.com. If this brokerage has loads you're interested, it will take your effort to reach management and discuss the issue to get your
I have done that. I've written letters, I've written emails, I've called people and said, hey, here's everything you need to know about my brokerage. And then I'll say, GIX, by the way, you have trucks and you have a brokerage. Can you book loads with yourself? I've had a lot of discussions like that. Usually I win, probably an 80% win.
Have you had an agent literally hang up on you?
Yeah, but I'm just used to that.
Well, no, I mean, there was one agent that I called, like, hey, I'm interested in this load. Yeah, our customer will work with you because of Go Highway. Click.
You got to record that. That's what you need recorded. Is what we call evidence right there.
So, yeah, but Sterling with this comment here. Please ask DOI if he wants many freight 12,000.
Oh, you have. What did I get into with the guy? Yes, a couple of days ago. Oh, he wanted to dispatch my trucks, and he was obviously from who the hell knows where. I says, do you offer quick pay? He's like, yes, we offer quick pay. I says, well, I said, how does that work from India? By the time it goes through everything and gets to me, is it really quick pay? How many days on your quick pay when it's international? He just like, he didn't know what the hell to say. It was funny.
I still like that call that you brought me in on when I was on the phone with you. That was good.
I had one of my drivers in the pickup with me one day, and we're driving down the road, and one of them, when they call because it's the same old area codes and it says spam. So I answer it, and I'm talking to this guy, and I cover up the phone. I told my driver, when I give you the cue, you start screaming. And so I got this guy on speakerphone. We're talking to him, and I'm giving him this really depressing story, like, man, my dog just died, blah blah blah. So I'm driving right now. I wonder what happened. Something like, I wonder what would happen if I just gunned it and drove into this tree. And I did this as 3, 2, 1, and me and the driver both start screaming our heads off, and then I just hit click, hang up. As far as I know, that guy thinks we drove it into a freaking big oak tree. Oh, it's fun.
well, you get called so many times, you get creative, right? Have fun with it, right?
You might as well, because they don't give a damn. They don't even know what's what.
You can't stop the phone calls, so you might as well have fun with them. So,
yeah, more to come.
Highway has helped to identify fraudulent carriers. The consequences made harder for the good carriers, right? And so that's where the human element needs to come in.
I wish
it has to go beyond the computer screen.
Yeah, so I know you got to go, but I wish there was a thing where, okay, Highway made it harder for these fraudulent carriers, carrier 411. At a certain point, there should be a mechanism. If there is proof beyond a reasonable doubt, and I mean concrete proof, not speculation, not just reports or rumors, that some of these fraudulent carriers did these things, then there is this mechanism to cut them completely off from everything. But it has to be proof, not just, oh, he said this or that.
Yeah, I agree.
That would help. That would be nice.
Yep. Well, I got to go. So thanks for coming on, man.
Sorry to drive your show into a tree, into a bridge abutment.
Just don't scream. We'll be all right.
All right. Take it easy, man. Thanks.
Later.
Bye.
All right. That was DIY Semi. Thanks for him coming in. And thanks for you guys watching. Hope you have a great weekend. If you are running, I hope you're profitable, or I hope you're going to make some money. And if you are going home, I hope you enjoy your home time, enjoy your family, because they're not going to be around forever. So with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Aggression turns the screws. Be smart, be safe, and thanks for popping in. We had almost over 80 people, so that's pretty good. So thanks for watching, and thanks for all of you watching on Twitter as well. Peace.